Yesterday, I read the account in John chapter 12 about Jesus riding on a donkey's colt through Jerusalem and how crowds came to see him because he had raised Lazarus from the dead. And on this day, they were throwing down palm branches in front of him as he was riding on this donkey's colt. And they were shouting, "Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, even the King of Israel," meaning, save us. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, even the King of Israel. They were shouting on their king to save them, calling him king. Now, in the same chapter, beginning with verse 20, the story changes up to a different story. Let's look at it. It's kind of interesting. It says, "Now there were some Greeks among those who were going up to worship at the feast. These then came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida of Galilee, and began to ask him, saying, 'Sir, we wish to see Jesus.' Philip came and told Andrew. Andrew and Philip came and told Jesus." Now listen to Jesus' response. "And Jesus answered them, saying, 'The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. He who loves his life loses it, and he who hates his life in this world will keep it to life eternal. If anyone serves me, he must follow me. And where I am, there my servant will be also. If anyone serves me, the Father will honor him. Now my soul has become troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this purpose I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name." Then a voice came out of heaven, "I have both glorified it and will glorify it again." So the crowd of people who stood by and heard it were saying that it thundered, while others were saying, "An angel has spoken to him." Jesus answered and said, "This voice has not come for my sake, but for your sakes. Now judgment is upon this world. Now the ruler of this world will be cast out, and if I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all men to myself." But he was saying this to indicate the kind of death by which he was to die. The crowd then answered him, "We have heard out of the law that the Christ is to remain forever. And how can you say, 'The Son of Man must be lifted up'? Who is this Son of Man?" So Jesus said to them, "For a little while longer, the light is among you. Walk while you have the light, so that the darkness will not overtake you. He who walks in the darkness does not know where he goes. While you have the light, believe in the light, so that you may become sons of light." These things Jesus spoke, and he went away and hid himself from them. So this begins with some Greeks asking to meet him, and Jesus completely ignores it. It never says that the Greeks were brought to Jesus to meet him. But it ends with Jesus saying these things and then going away and hiding himself. See, he had done all the miracles. This passage has, for so long, been a mystery to me, and I think I'm beginning to see it and understand it more clearly. Like, why didn't he address them? They told him the Greeks wanted to meet him, and he went off on this other thing, completely ignoring this. And then, I guess I missed that part where it says, after these things he spoke, he went away and hid himself from them. In other words, he wasn't there to be met anymore. He had accomplished the signs. He had warned the people. He had told the people. And now he is telling them still yet again to walk in the light while he's with them. He's warning them that he is getting ready to die, and that where he goes, his follower will go also. That means we also go to the death. We also go to the cross. We will, in following Jesus, be led to the cross. And then what he says is, shall I say, Father, take this hour from me? But no, it is for this hour I came. We each have been created by God for a specific purpose. And in following Jesus Christ, God will fulfill his purpose in us. Sometimes we want to feel like, I've mentioned this before, that we want to eke out of the calling God has upon our life because it feels difficult or it's uncomfortable or it's just difficult. I've been looking at the lives of the prophets, and I am going to make another video today about another prophet. And so I was curious, why did Jesus not address this question about the Greeks and go to meet them or have them come to meet him? And instead, at the end of this, that he spoke to them, he went and hid himself. I think it's because his time of miracles and proving things was over. If someone is going to see and accept, they will see and accept. If they are going to reject him, they're going to reject him. But see, he came to be lifted up on the cross. And he said, if I am lifted up, like Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, and people had to look at it to be saved from the plague, Jesus is lifted up so that all who look to him will, he says, and I, if I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all men to myself. All men to myself. So he didn't entertain this idea of meeting with the crowds anymore. He knew what he was there for. He had accomplished the purposes the Father had for him to accomplish. He had said, I only say what my Father tells me to say, and I only do what my Father tells me to do. And now he is preparing them, his followers, and those who are listening, for his going to the cross, and also preparing them for their death to the flesh, and bearing their own cross. Jesus is preparing the way now for the cross, and that's where his focus is now, and that's the focus that he is drawing his disciples to. No more is it for the crowds. No more is it for the crowds. And here, after crowds are consequential, the next miracle that Jesus will do is to be raised from the dead. So Jesus is finished meeting with the crowds. He's finished with the miracles. He is now going to his death, burial, and resurrection. And so I think I understand it a little more clearly, why Jesus didn't bother with the Greeks who wanted to meet him. He had been there. He was, for a lot of these people that wanted to come see him, it was a novelty. Oh, let's go see the guy that raised somebody from the dead. Cool, yeah, let's go see him. And Jesus entertained that. He let them be a witness to the miracles and to his words and to the things that he would do in the event that someone would follow him. And even so, many of his followers fell away, and at the cross he was abandoned. Do we not think that when we take up our cross to follow Jesus, we won't experience some abandonment? That we don't experience that death to the flesh and that difficulty and that hard time? But listen, if we want to live with him, we need to be willing to die with him, that where he goes, we will follow. Follow Jesus, even to the cross, and you will have eternal life. God bless and keep you. I'm praying for us all.